It's only rain, I said. The alien girl gripped me tightly. No. The hunters are here. The sky had darkened unusually fast, the clouds swirling in an angry bruised purple that made the forest around us seem alien, even though I knew this land well. Rain began to fall in scattered, heavy drops, pattering against the leaves and soaking the moss beneath our feet. I tried to smile, lifting a hand to shield the alien girl beside me. It's only rain, I said, my voice louder than the storm, hoping to reassure her. But she didn't loosen her grip. Her small hands, almost translucent in the dim light, clutched my arm as though I were the only solid thing left in the world. No, the hunters are here, she whispered, her wide, luminescent eyes scanning the treeline. Her voice was barely audible over the downpour, but it carried an edge of terror I couldn't ignore. I crouched beside her, examining the shadows that moved unnaturally between the trees. They were humanoid but not quite human. Their limbs bent at odd angles, and their eyes glowed faintly like embers in the gloom. I swallowed hard, realizing we were no longer alone. Okay, I said slowly, trying to keep calm. We'll hide. Stay close. I slid my hand around her back, urging her into a dense thicket. The rain masked our scent and softened our footsteps, but even then I knew it might not be enough. She pressed against me, trembling. Why are they hunting me? She asked, her voice cracking. I hesitated, choosing my words carefully. Because you're different. They don't understand you. But I'll keep you safe. The alien girl's glowing eyes flickered with a mix of fear and hope. Safe. Can you really? Before I could answer, a distorted sound, like metal scraping against stone, echoed from the forest's edge. My stomach sank. They were closer than I thought. I scanned for escape routes, noting the rise of a hill nearby that might give us a vantage point. Move, I whispered, tugging her gently but firmly. We sprinted through the rain, slipping on wet roots and mud. Each step was a battle against the storm and our own exhaustion. Behind us, the hunter's eerie whispers seemed to grow louder, closer, feeding on our fear. Halfway up the hill, she stumbled. I caught her immediately, holding her steady. Her skin felt cold against mine, and her breathing was rapid. They're fast, I muttered, scanning for another hiding spot. My eyes caught a hollowed tree trunk, large enough for both of us. We dove inside, the wood slick with rain and sap. She curled into me, her small frame shaking violently. I pressed my forehead to the top of her head. It's okay. We're hiding. They can't see us here. Minutes passed. The rain intensified, drumming on the hollow trunk like 1,000 tiny hammers. Outside, the hunters moved with careful, deliberate steps, their glowing eyes scanning every inch of the forest. I held my breath, willing them to pass, willing them to not notice the faint warmth of life pressed into the tree. Then, a shadow loomed near the trunk. One of the hunters paused, tilting its head unnaturally. I felt her grip tighten, nails digging into my arm. The hunter sniffed the air, a low, rumbling sound emanating from its throat. Stay quiet, I whispered fiercely. My heart pounded so loudly I was certain it would betray us. The hunter leaned closer, its eyes almost touching the trunk. Then, unexpectedly, it tilted away, and with a few more jerky steps it moved on. I exhaled slowly, my body trembling. She clung to me, silent tears mixing with the rain dripping from her hair. They didn't find us, she whispered. No, I said, lifting her chin gently. Not yet. But we have to keep moving. The storm began to ease, though the sky remained heavy with clouds. I helped her out of the hollow and scanned the forest. We needed a real escape, somewhere the hunters couldn't track. I remembered an old cave system miles to the east. It wasn't perfect, but it would buy us time. We ran again, slower this time, cautious of every sound. The alien girl clung to me as though letting go would mean certain death. I promised her silently that we'd reach safety. The rain-slicked ground was treacherous, but the thought of losing her made each step urgent. After what felt like hours, though was only perhaps 30 minutes, the trees began to thin. The cave loomed ahead, its mouth dark and promising. She hesitated at the entrance, peering into the blackness. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I know," I said softly, kneeling to meet her gaze. "But I won't let them hurt you. We'll hide here until the hunters give up." She nodded, still trembling, and we stepped inside together. The darkness was suffocating at first, but I held her close, murmuring words of comfort. The rain outside turned to a distant hum, and for the first time since the hunt began, I allowed myself to believe we might survive the night. Minutes later I whispered again, "It's over for now. We're safe together." She leaned into me, gripping my arm. "Thank you for not leaving me," she whispered. And in the silence of the cave, with the storm fading outside, I realized that this alien girl, terrified and alone, had become my responsibility. And I would fight, hide, and run with her for as long as it took. Because some promises are worth more than life itself. The storm outside had softened to a drizzle, and the forest had grown eerily quiet. I held the alien girl close as we crouched inside the dark cave, the hollowed-out rock sheltering us from the hunters who still prowled somewhere beyond the trees. Her small hands clung to my arm, and her glowing eyes searched mine for reassurance. "They didn't find us," she whispered, voice trembling. "No," I replied softly, brushing damp strands of hair from her face. "Not yet. But we need to stay hidden until it's safe." She nodded, trembling against me, and I realized how fragile she was, how much depended on me now. The rain outside became a distant rhythm, almost soothing, as I whispered stories of safety, of hope, and of a world where she could be free. Minutes stretched into silence. Every shadow in the cave felt alive, every creak of stone a potential threat. But gradually, I noticed her grip on me relax slightly, her breathing evening out. She leaned into me, trusting me completely, a trust one swore I would never betray. "We'll survive," I murmured. "We'll find a place where no one can hurt you. Together." Her tiny fingers curled into mine. "Thank you for not leaving me," she whispered. And in that dark, damp cave, surrounded by the echo of the fading storm, I made a silent vow. I would run, fight, and hide with her for as long as it took. I would protect her until the hunters no longer haunted our steps, until she could smile without fear, until the world recognized her not as prey, but as someone worth saving. Because some promises aren't just words. They're a bond stronger than fear, stronger than the storm, stronger than the hunters themselves. And in that bond, we found our first flicker of safety, and the courage to face whatever came next.